Alright, you guys, this is going to be a little recap of my life and the way I started photography and videography. So technically I started 2 years ago, but I just want to start it from my life. Keep in mind that I was born in 2005, so technically I'm 19 right now. So the part where I feel like I should start is when we moved to this house in California. I'm going to start to where we first moved into this house until now, because it's been like 15 years probably. But before moving into this house, we were like everywhere. We were living everywhere. We used to live in Palmdale, we used to live in Colton, we used to just move everywhere like almost every month. And that's finally until like I think my dad got his shit together and he bought this house. He owns it now. And like one of those things made me realize too, like if he can do something like that, I can too. I'll do it even better. But yeah, we were like apartment to house or house to house almost like every a month or two. I don't know how long it took, but he found this house online and it was a real piece of shit, but he decided to buy it anyways. And one of the biggest life lessons that I've learned from my dad, it's just the way he treats my mom and the way he treated us when we were younger. We all used to hate him our whole lives, but to be honest, he dead ass taught us valuable lessons. I'd say he's the one that made me strong. But anyways, he bought this house when it was a real piece of shit. It took him probably like 2 months before we all moved here, because the house was really dirty. There was like a big pile of dirt in the garage and it was just really, really dirty. And eventually we moved here, but there was a lot of work to do for the house, So yeah, we moved our stuff here probably in like 2 weeks. Everything was here and we officially moved to this house. Over the past upcoming years, my dad would fix the house, obviously, because it was needed. And I'm not gonna lie, working with him and, rebuilding the house was a real fucking pain in the ass. But, they're all lessons. There's nothing you can do about it. Whenever he would fix something from the house, he'd just call me when I was at school, and he was like, hey, what time do you get off? What time are you gonna be here? And I'm like, well, we get off at 3 o'clock every day, so. And once I get home, he'd be like, ponte ropa viejita, because we're gonna work on the house. And I was like, fuck! When I was young, I just didn't really like working. I don't know, I just didn't want to do it. I felt lazy and it was just a pain in the ass for me. With anything too, like replacing the roof shingles, building the new Porsche, anything, it was just a fucking pain for me because I didn't want to help him. I didn't want to work. And that's probably one of the valuable lessons that my dad's taught me. You always have to work. You can't be lazy as a man. You always have to work and you always have to provide. But like most of the time when he would work on something and he'd tell me like, hey, get ready, we're gonna work on this, we're gonna do this today, I'd be like, fuck, I don't want to be here, how do I get out of here? I'd find excuses to just leave. I'd be like, can I go to a friend's house for a bit? And he'd be like, didn't I just tell you that we're gonna work on the house? And in my mind, I'm like, fuck, I don't want to do this, I'd rather do school, I'd rather do homework. And like almost all my life, he's told me like, either you work or you study. And I was like, I'm gonna study because I don't want to do this. It's too much. He still made me work. He still made me like work with him, fix the house up together. And also one thing that's funny to me is that almost every Hispanic has experienced this, because once your dad gets mad at you when you're working with him, he gets pissed the fuck off. He's like, vete la chingada. He's like, no sirves pa nada. Which means like, you're a piece of shit. You're not useful. There's times where I did feel bad. I was like, oh shit, what'd I do? Be messing around while working with him, because I used to mess around like anytime I got any chance that I got, like boom, I just start messing with things, fidgeting things. And like I was a kid, I didn't know what to do. And then back then he used to like call me out on the tools too. He's like, pásame esto. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I don't know the name for that. Like he'll be like, pásame el martillo, pásame las pinzas. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like if I knew what it was in English, then yeah, I'd know what you're talking about. Like I'd know what you mean. But like back then, I didn't understand what things were in Spanish. It was like pinzas, like what the hell is that? I don't know what that is. And it's kind of funny to me because now it's the opposite. I don't know what things are in English. Like I must have forgotten or something. Like hand me a wrench. I'm like, what the hell is a wrench? That's a wrench? But keep in mind, this is also in like probably like 2016, and we moved to this house when I was in 4th grade, the beginning of 4th grade, because we were still fixing the house over the time. There's times where he would tell me like what we're gonna do, like, oh, we're gonna change the roof today, we're gonna build a Porsche, we're gonna build a wall right here, we're gonna fix this up. He wouldn't really tell me anything. There's times where he would, but there's times where he wouldn't. And then in the future, I wouldn't mind like working with him because I kind of got used to it. But one of the things that I hated and I knew that we were gonna work on something. Like every time we left the house and we went to Home Depot, as soon as he made that turn to Home Depot, I'm like, fuck, I know we're gonna work. On the road, I'd be like, please don't turn, please don't turn, please stop turning at Home Depot. And he would turn. We're gonna be busy, I can't do this, I can't do that. The plans that I had, it would just disappear because we'd work on the house. And like now, he's not really home anymore, so I don't really like mind doing work or, breaking my neck doing stuff, There's also times where we're doing like mechanic work and, like if you don't hold the flashlight right, you get get beat up later on. Oh, and when I did get beat up, I got beat the fuck up. I'd consider it child abuse, but there's nothing you can do about it because it was just life. It's your punishment, And then like fast forward by like 3 years, I was gonna graduate elementary school, and he would be there. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? Because like, he used to treat me like a piece of shit. So I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? I wouldn't tell him that, but in my mind, I'm like, the hell are you doing here? Like, I don't want you here. You don't support me. I don't feel support from him. So when he was there, I was shocked. I was like, what? Why is he here? Like, I thought he didn't give a fuck about me, but no, he was there, like supported me. Like anything I would want, he'd buy it, but he would still treat me like a piece of shit. But yeah, the time came, I graduated, and he gave me a big hug. But one of the things that I noticed that he never said until I graduated high school, he's like, I never heard the words, I'm proud of you. That wasn't until I graduated high school. I appreciate it, but this isn't me. This isn't my life. I'm not dedicated to school. I'm not focused on school. Like, school just wasn't for me. And then my mom, on the other hand, she would tell me, like, I'm proud of you, like, congratulations. She'd tell me every time. But as a kid, as a son, it's really, really hard to please your dad and make him proud. And then, like, fast forward those years, it was like summer break. Throughout the whole summer, we would either go to summer school because we didn't want to be at the house with him. And like, I would go to summer school just cause. It wasn't needed, but I would just go because I didn't want to be at the house, I wanted to leave. I didn't want to be at the house and work with him. So it was technically like elementary and junior high. During the summer, I would go to summer school because I just didn't want to be at the house. And then like fast forward to junior high, I would take school as a joke. I wouldn't take it seriously. And like, yeah, I would get good grades. I'd have A's, B's, and C's, and probably like 1D. I was a real math kid. Like, I used to be a math magician. I used to be a boss at math, I'd say. But it's elementary and junior high math. It's not like algebra and all that, so it's the easy math. And I'd say once I got to 8th grade, or like halfway through 8th grade, that's when it got downhill. I was like, fuck, I don't know this. I'm not as good as I used to be. What happened to my skills? But it's just part of life. It's one thing you're good at something, and the next thing you're not. And then like during those junior high years, I wouldn't take school seriously, but I'd try stuff out just to not be home. The after school program or like clubs or whatever they had. And I remember back in junior high, there was my history teacher did what's it called? Like those camera clubs. We would like learn like just the basics of photography and like editing and all that. And now that I realize, I think I got like me liking cameras back in junior high. I just never realized it. Like now looking back, I feel like I've always loved cameras. I've always wanted to own one. So like fast forward to high school, like once I got to what is it, 7th, 8th? Once I got to 9th grade, I was like, all right, I'm in high school. That's crazy, So the first couple of years, I kind of did take it seriously, but at the same time, I was like, I still don't give a fuck. And it's funny because I told something like that to my parents before, like once I graduated, but we'll get onto that later. So like freshman year, I would take that as a joke until they would say like, choose your next classes and choose them wisely. I was like, why is that? Why did she say choose wisely? People was like, because that's what's gonna be those are your classes, that's what's gonna be your future. But they didn't really have much options. They had like culinary, they had Spanish, which was mandatory. So I took Spanish my first 2 years, freshman and sophomore year, because it was mandatory. I didn't want to do it in the future. So fast forward like freshman onto sophomore. I took school a little bit more serious than I did before. Like sophomore year, I kind of took it seriously. It was kind of tough because of COVID. COVID is when it hit. Oh no, freshman year was COVID. So COVID started in freshman year March. So March we had to, go online, go on what was it? Like Google Meets or something like that, Google Voice or something like that, where it was online classes. And then fast forward to sophomore year, we took that whole entire year online, and it was hard. It was stressful because during that time, there'd be days where my dad'd be like, "We're going to Mexico. We're going here." I'd always put the excuse like, "I can't. I'm in school. I'm supposed to be here." And he'll be like, It's a portable device. It's a laptop or it's a tablet. You can take it on the way." And we'd be on the way to Mexico, and me and my sister just in the back, just on our classes, trying to do the work. And to be honest, I was gonna leave the classes and then just fall asleep or whatever while being on the road. Yeah, we would be in Mexico. We'd be in Mexico taking USA online classes, and that would shock me, to be honest, because I'd be like in a restaurant and they would just see like, "Oh, you're in a class or whatever that is," and they're talking English. Like we'd obviously have to put like earphones or headphones on so that other people wouldn't hear and they wouldn't scam my dad. But he was really bitchy about headphones to me. He'd be like, "No vas a ir," like, "No, you're gonna go dead." Like that's not really what happens unless you always have it on max. Back then in Mexico, we would take online classes, and my dad was always a big time traveler. He would always love to travel, go here and there, like once every month or two. I feel like that's where I got the traveling side from him, because I like to travel too, or like driving for like 8 or something hours. Like I don't mind it. Like yeah, I'll get tired, but I'll still do it. I don't care. Back to the Mexico part, we'd be in Mexico just being on classes, And one of the best parts about that, if you guys ever been to Mexico, the food, the candy, it's so good. But yeah, we went to Mexico while being in school, technically. And then like once we got back, like a couple of days later, he'd be like, "All right, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that." And I'm still like, "Fuck, we're gonna work on the house." And then like during the end of the sophomore year, that was when we were changing the roof. We were changing the shingles, and I'd be on school, I'd be online. And I'd just be on my computer, like trying to hear what the teacher's saying while they were working on the roof, and they were making all this noise and shit. And I'd be like, "I can't hear," so I'd shut my door. He was obviously up there with some other man trying to help him, because my dad couldn't do it himself, so he had some friends help him change the roof. So they were up there, and he would like sometimes come down and see what we were doing. And since I couldn't hear, I closed my door to quiet down the room, and he saw that, and he was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Don't close this fucking door." And I'm like, "I can't hear. I'm in school. I can't hear what they're saying." To me, it's funny because instead of actually trying to listen, I would just play games, And like, I wouldn't take the school seriously. And back then in those days, I think I had an F in almost every class, both semesters. But, I didn't really care because they said that we're gonna pass either way. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Because it was online, Like they said we're still gonna pass either way, no matter what grade. I'm like, all right, bet. I don't have to do shit. I don't have to do homework. I don't have to do anything, because I'm still gonna pass. I think we actually all did pass. I'm not sure. And then fast forward to junior year, they announced that like COVID was kind of ending, and like we can go back to the school. Obviously with safety precautions, like we had to wear masks still, and I was all right with that, because I'd rather be at school at the time than be home. So that year went way too fast, and I think that year was like when I realized like when I got mature. I think, no, I matured at a very young age, and I think it was sophomore year actually. Like during junior year, I cut most of my friends, I cut most of my social life, and I felt mature. And like even nowadays, like I text my friend and he was like, "Whenever I talk to you, I feel like I'm talking to a 30-year-old. I feel like I matured at a very young age, and that changed me. It changes everyone, Like I didn't really want to socialize at school during that time because it was hard to make friends either way. So, and like I didn't really care, but I know junior year was just a year where I didn't really care anymore about being friends with anyone. Like, high school it's all about drama. There's a bunch of fights, and I didn't really want to get into problems. I didn't want to get into drama, so I just cut my friends off. I'd probably talk to people, but I wouldn't consider them as a friend, because there's a difference between a friend and like someone you talk to and know. Because like, a friend is there for you, and they weren't, I would just talk to them like during class. So then like fast forward to senior year, that was when I actually tried to have the most fun, but also try to make money. Because senior year, once I turned 18, like I stayed up midnight just to create my broker account, so I can start investing. Because I told my mom about investing into like stocks and all that, but she was like, "Oh, it's a scam. It's not real." But I always knew it was real. Like it's a real thing. You can make money off of it. But like once I started stocks too, that was like in March too, so it was like mid-year. So once I started stocks, I tried it out for a couple of months until the end of high school. I was like, I don't know how to do this shit. I'm not doing this anymore. It's like a waste of money. I did end up losing like $80 on it, so it's whatever. It's a life lesson. But that year, so I took a class. It's called Multimedia 1, and then senior year was Multimedia 2. And then taking those classes, the first year I took it as a joke. I used to always play games, and then the second year, senior year, I took it more seriously. I was like, damn, I really like this camera stuff. Is this what I want to do? Yeah, it was winter break is when I first bought my first camera, and I told my teacher about it. He was like, "Oh, that's great." He thought I just got it because of a joke. Little me didn't know, or little him didn't know, I was like actually gonna grind this shit out. I went to car events. I went to car meets. I was like, I'm gonna start doing like car photography because I'm a fan of cars and I like taking pictures. So little did I know I didn't have a car back then, and I used to, before going to work, I was like gonna go like an hour or two early, and I would walk around the city and just look for modified cars, or cars that I thought were modified. I seen a green stock Civic and I was like, damn, that's a cool car, I'm gonna take a picture. Yeah, that's the way I started. Like I used to walk around the city myself. I didn't want to depend on anyone. I didn't want to depend on a ride. I didn't want to do that. Like, yeah, it was helpful. Like, I appreciate it. But I didn't tell no one that I was going an hour or two early just to look for a car. It got to the point where my dad, he kind of like found out, but it was because I told him to. But he would be like, I'll give you a ride. I'll give you a ride to the work. I want to take the bus. I want to walk. I want to exercise. But like little did he know, he didn't know that I was walking around the city trying to look for cars. And I appreciate it now that they get it, but back then they didn't understand. Like I wasn't taking it serious. It was a joke, That was the first times I found a couple cars. I've never met them. I did meet one guy, but the other ones, like, I never met. And I get myself out there too. I was like, I'm gonna take a picture of this car and I'm gonna upload it to Instagram. It was like, it's the first post that I have on my Instagram. It's like a Mustang. It was during the nighttime, and I had no clue how to edit night photos. I used to invest in myself too until I got a camera bag. I used to carry my camera and my like lens and all that stuff in my backpack. That was until I got a camera bag to go to work instead of using my school backpack. I'd go on the bus and like I just walk around the city trying to look for cars. No, it was a pain in the ass because I didn't really see any cars. It was just, city cars, the normal cars. She was like, where's it at? I was like, it's at the sport park. It's like 10 minutes away. And she was like, all right, come on. We would go. She dropped me off, and I met the car owners, most of the car owners. That was like the day that I improved to probably like 5%. And then like fast forward to from the car meet. I went home, I edited the pictures, I like posted them like right away. And I didn't get much support, like, cause like back then I used to have like 400 followers back then. It was only my friends supporting me because nobody knew who I was, nobody knew me. Back to multimedia, I told my teacher about it. He was like, oh wow, those are some nice photos. Like, obviously he would say like, those are some ugly ass photos, those aren't cool, but he thought I was just doing it for fun. And like back then I probably was, I wasn't taking it seriously, so I just, you know, let it slide. I was like, you know, it's whatever. Fast forward in time, I end up graduating high school. Probably like 4 or 5 months later after graduating, I found my teacher's Instagram. Not on purpose. It was like, it just showed up, like Naro. That's his name, Mr. Naro. It just showed up on my Instagram on my suggested and was like, oh damn, look, it's my old teacher. So I follow him, and then, you know, obviously on my Instagram I have all my pictures, all the stuff that I've been doing, like on my filmmaking. He sees that, and you know, he's an actual filmmaker outside of teaching. So he texts me like, hey, I'm gonna make a film, do you want to join in? I'm like, yeah, definitely. And then I think that was when I bought my car too. I think it was like bone stock at the time. I was like, yeah, I have my own whip, I can go like no matter where it is. But back then I don't think I had my license back then, so I had to be careful a little bit. But yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm down, like I'm down for anything, you know. We took the time to film. It was like the first time I had to drive like 20 or 30 minutes away, and then the second time it was in town. It wasn't too bad. It was actually pretty fun because it was with people. I knew one of those people that were with us, but the other people, like, I just recently met. I was like, hey, it's nice to meet you. You know, they were into content as well, so I was like, damn, I'm really getting to know people that love making content, that love doing this stuff, you know. Like, fast forward like a week or two, I text him. I'm like, hey, I know you have a gimbal and I was wondering if I could use it or like borrow it so I can make myself a car video, you know. He was like, yeah, definitely, I'll let you use it. But he was kind of in a rush, so I was like, I'll use the time that I have, and like I'll make the most out of it. And yeah, I was like, at the time, I think that's when I started taking it seriously too. It was at the time where I met this guy named Brian. He owned a Nismo 350Z. That was my first time using a gimbal. So he was like, yeah, I'll let you borrow it. And you know, I did my thing. He was there, he was watching, and he was like, I didn't know you were into this stuff. And I was like, yeah, I've been into this stuff. I just never really told anyone because I just thought it was embarrassing. And like, I'm kind of proud of like the way he taught me too. Because he did teach me the basics on like manual mode and all that stuff. I edited the video like that same night because I was so excited about it. So I always edit the same stuff every night after the shoot. Like the next day I upload it to Instagram. And then like realizing now that I was like, damn, those are like true supporters, you know? Going like fast forward like a month or something like that, I took it even more serious. And I started going to more car meets, like every now and then, more often. I took pictures of cars. If their Instagram was on their car, I would tag them so they can see my work, basically. My teacher also followed me on Instagram because he wanted to see my work. So he was seeing all that, and he was like, damn, you're getting better and better. And whenever I'm stuck on something too, I always let him know. And it's like, hey, how do I do this on Premiere Pro? And he'd be like, oh, it's easy, you just gotta do this, you gotta do that. And like, now that I'm taking it more seriously, I'm actually trying to make it my full-time job as in the future, you know. I don't care if it takes like a year or two more. It's like, I just want to make it my full-time job. And then like I think from there on to now is when I started taking it a lot more seriously. I think like last year, 2023, pretty sure it was in November or October, I did my first paid shoot to shoot photos and videos. It was a Honda Civic Si. I think it was like those 9th gen ones. I did the shoot, I took the videos. I kind of did like the pictures in the end, but the videos I didn't really like because I had to shoot handheld back then. One thing you got to remember too is that investing in yourself is the best way to get yourself out there too. Yeah, I think that paid shoot was $80. I told him I'm gonna charge him 70, and he was like, here, just take 80, take 10 as a tip, it's fine. I was like, wow, that's insane. I didn't expect this. I was just expecting 70 and boom, get the fuck out of here. I got 80 instead, and I seen on Instagram, somebody showed me that there was this guy selling his gimbal. I was like, damn. And it was for $80 too. And I was like, damn, I have 80. I might as well invest in myself and get the gimbal. So I contacted the dude and I was like, hey, like, where are you located? I want to buy your gimbal. I didn't even ask questions like, oh, what brand, or like what this, what that. I was like, I'm gonna buy your gimbal. Like, I'm trying to buy your gimbal. And then like fast forward a couple of days, he said he was from LA, which is, for me, it's like 2 or 3 hours away. And I was like, is it really worth the drive? Is it really worth it, you know? So I asked him like, can he ship it? And he was like, I'd have to go to the post office to find out how much they would charge. And I told him like, I'll pay for the shipping, I don't mind. So I had to put like 20 bucks on top, so I would be 100. But I didn't pay for the gimbal, I just paid for the shipping. What paid for that gimbal is the paid shoot that I did. One thing that I learned too is that always invest in yourself. Whatever you get out of paid shoots, always invest it in your career or yourself, basically. Like a month or two later, there's a car meet in town, and so I go to it. I'm like, I told the hoster, since I know him, I was like, I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna film. I was like, all right, say less, and like, if you can, like, send me the footage. And I was like, I'm barely starting out, I'm not gonna keep everything private, so of course I'm gonna send it to him. I met this couple for the first time, and they were like so real. It was a nice couple because they're both into photography. The girlfriend or wife, I think, she does wedding photography, and I talked to the both of them and I told them my story too. They were shocked about it too. Like, realizing a couple days ago, I was like, instead of waiting to be on a podcast and telling my story, I'm gonna just put it out on a YouTube video. And seeing them, that they do it as a job or as a career, I was like, damn, that's gonna be me soon, you know? Because she gets a bunch of paid shoots. I've seen, I got her Insta when I met her, but I've been having the other dude's Insta. So like now, I've been going to car meets down the hill since I'm like up the hill and like Victorville and Barstow. I live in Barstow. When I would go to Victorville, it would be the same cars over and over. And I got tired of it because I'm like, I'm trying to make this a career. I'm not trying to show my Instagram page that it's the same cars over and over. The weekend after that, which is this last weekend, I went to a Fontana meet. While at the car meet, the dude saw me with the gimbal, you know, filming. He waited until I was done recording, obviously, and then he was like, hey, I've seen you recording for a minute, and like, are you gonna post a video of the car meet? Or like, yeah, I've been doing this for a couple times now, and honestly, like, I'm just trying to get myself out there. And he was like, oh, that's cool, dude, like, I support you. He was like, once you're done with the video and post it, like, tag me in it, collaborate the post with me. And I was like, all right, say less. That was when I realized I had to make this video the best I could. So I posted the video, I collaborated with him. He was like, I love it, dude, I love it. And I was like, I'm from Barstow. He was like, oh my god. He immediately said, I'll pay you for your time. That shit hit me. I was like, ain't no way somebody wants to pay for my time, especially a car meet host. I was like, all right, say less, let's do it. So that's gonna cut it for the story. If you guys did enjoy the story, please give it a like and, you know, subscribe.